Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage for the first round of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying Series. This evening, the action takes us to a throwback. It's time to go to the place they call Too Tough to Tame. Tonight's coverage from iRacing's virtual Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing with the weekly Maconi Fixed Series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for this evening is ARC Menard Series racer Braden Laster, along with Gog Racing's Dylan Coyle. Bradley Cooper is our producer for tonight's coverage as we get ready to go racing from Darlington. Braden, I'll start with you. As we've raced at a variety of different circuits over the course of 6 races, some drivers are starting to get projections of potential locks, but Darlington in of itself could potentially bust open a lot of opportunities. The chances for Darlington Stripes from brushing the wall is a guarantee. What do you expect to see when it comes to Darlington tonight?
Yeah, this is very much a driver's track, and if you're not good here, you're going to have a very rough night to begin with. You don't know how to get up by the wall, where you can risk everything on the line, but you got to do it to be fast here. You see it there on the screen, 23 to 25 degrees of banking in your turns, and that's only really about a lane and a half, maybe 2.5 lanes up right by the wall. That's what we're going to see everyone here tonight. With it only being a handful of races to go, I believe our second to last one before round 2, you're going to see everyone trying to risk it all. No fast repairs and 4 tire sets in the pits. These guys are going to be sending it everything, or sending every corner with everything they got.
And you're right on that point, by the way, of it being the second to last race. Charlotte is the finale in a couple weeks' time after all. It's going to be important to do well with these next 2 races. For a lot of drivers, if you are in a situation where you already have a drop scenario and a second bad race can happen, Dylan, it can destroy championship runs or chances. Mitchell DeYoung, for reference, from his crash last week is in the 200s. Right now, here's a look at your points without the drop. Brian Mercurio, Joe Armstrong, Blaze Crawford, your top 3. They're all projected to be in the green zone, along with Max Brady, Logan Clampett, and Brad Wright if things hold.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers we'll see in this split, in this race, they are putting themselves in a great spot to advance through the top 70 when we do get through Charlotte next round. But it is still a pressure-packed situation for some of the drivers who are kind of hovering just above that top 70 cut line. It's a scary, a harrowing place to be. And Darlington, it's one of the toughest tracks on the schedule. I know both of you guys have talked about it being a driver's track. That it certainly is. Qualifying is so important to have a good race at the end.
And right now, the drivers are already getting themselves ready for tonight. Let's talk about both the Maconi Setup Shop race analysis. 120 laps for tonight's festivities, 163 miles in turn as well. Open setups as well. green, white checkers if necessary. But 4 tire sets available. We're going to be using a lot of tires, Braden.
Yeah, and there's 3 green, white checkers, too. You won't be able to have a set there at the end if you start going to green, white checker territory. Tires are everything here. Now, looking back at last night's C-Fixed broadcasting race here where Zach Novak ran on the podium without taking tires and in the whole race, I'm kind of questioning myself, but I think tires are going to be a little more drastic here tonight. If you look at the iRating and some of these guys, these are the top, not the top 1%, but the top 0.01%.
Let's take a look at how they'll start tonight and go 10 at a time in terms of how we'll run through. Agnell Phillip and Brian Mercurio are on your front row tonight. Michael Frischk and Christopher Hill are in the second row. Row 3, that's where you find Christopher Pfeffer. He'll be starting alongside the eNASCAR competitor of Logan Clampett, runner-up to Steven Wilson for that title fight. Joseph Galata, Quentin Warman, your top 8. Navarro and Smith, your top 10.
That they're going to have Blaze Crawford rolling off there in 11th, Cameron Champagne to his outside in 12th, Daniel Smallwood 13th. Jack Michigan for a really good run here, rolling off 14th, Noah Bitch behind him in 15th, Matthew Morton 16th, Kay McClinney in 17th, Connor Strong in 18th, Philip Groner and Casey Tucker running at their top 20. Dylan, I see running the field for us.
Kevin King 21st, Matthew Bappy 22nd, Jake Matheson along Andrew Farinas, Dominic Lukomsky, Larry Pace, Braden Hawkin, Jake Nichols, Eugene Moskanov, Sander Nyhoff, your top 30. A few more drivers to go, but the field is ready to get going here with Green Flag Racing.
Green flag is already out. Let's go racing from Darlington. Good start for Agnell Phillip, one of the rising stars when it comes to the RTP scene. He leads the first lap here tonight for the 851 machine. Mercurio and Frisch, your current top 3. An interesting thing to note, in the league scene, Phillip has also been working with the Altus Esports drivers in regards to RSR, a series that is ran in part by eNASCAR lead announcer Evan Pasocco. Good partnership, and in turn, seeing that now start to come at a full stride for one of the rising drivers from last year's round 2.
That's actually only the 3rd top split appearance in the Road to Pro scene for Agnell Phillip this season around. And so far, it's definitely his best run, only a couple laps in, but starting from the pole, first career pole for him to my knowledge. But great start, first handful of laps for Agnell Phillip.
And this is a place where track position is critical throughout the night, Dylan, especially when it comes to it's hard to pass, and it's hard to make sure you don't lose control of your respective truck. Seen a lot of single file as drivers try and sort out how they're going to get some passes done here tonight.
Yeah, the biggest thing about making any passes here at Darlington is you've got to set it up almost a lap earlier and then hope to pounce on a driver's mistake in front. Turns 1, 2, 3, and 4, all completely different. 3 and 4, a lot more acute. It's tighter. You're on the brakes a little bit harder heading into the corner, but it's almost more difficult to get a good run coming down onto that
Trouble, turn
stretch.
3, Andrew Freenosh is in the wall. Freenosh was on the bubble coming into tonight. He's got a meatball. He had contact with Dominic Lukemski, and now his chances for the run for the title and for making top 70 have just taken a bad hit.
And we might get a caution, no caution yet, but Freenosh slow and low on the apron out of the race. I see a replay there, just hard hit, hard lick there, and actually gets a couple others involved. I don't know how that wasn't a caution, but tough go around for Andrew Freenosh. Not just tonight, but all season long.
That was Jake Nichols in the 26 truck who also went around and all of that. Blake McCandless also picked up mandatory repairs from the situation. He is right now trying to hold out to hope for a caution flag. So a lot of drivers just got a lot of bad luck here in that sequence.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, it's interesting. We talk about Agnell Phillip, and then automatically a couple laps later, we go to Andrew Farinas, 2 drivers that have a lot of real sim racing experience in that league run by Evan Pasocco. Justin, you and I have broadcast races there, and I also race a little bit in there. Not well, but I do race with Agnell, with Andrew sometimes. Both really good drivers, good people. Shame to see Andrew having that issue early on in this race. It's a lot of ground to already have to make up.
So already at least 2 to 3 drivers off the pace and out of the race with mandatory repairs. Phillip still holding on. Of course, with it being Darlington, some drivers were in the conversations of making sure one thing, get the throwbacks ready, get the different looks ready for tonight. We're seeing a lot of patriotic schemes for teams like Altus this evening. You also had drivers projecting, if they were to run tonight at least, the chance to be able to throw back to themselves. Blake Crawford, you can throw in that camp here tonight. You take a look, though, at some of the Altus machines. Christopher Pfeffer trying to build up a run to help out a teammate at Chris Hill.
There's a lot of history going through the field. I mean, some guys trying to get back into the Coke Series. Some guys trying to make it to the Coke Series for the first time. Kevin King, though, a driver that needs no reminder, I guess. He's been in not just iRacing, but esports as far as racing goes, way back in the day. I think he probably honestly predates my existence here on this planet. He's been iRacing, or just not iRacing, but he's been racing virtually for multiple decades now. So he's a driver that I think a lot of people would love to see get back up here in the Coke soon.
Yeah, he's recently had profiles done by YouTube content creator and also well-known iRacer in the league, seeing Justin Yee in recent weeks that touched upon how he was one of the top drivers in Dale Jr.'s respective sim racing leagues back around 2003. It's come a long way since then when it comes to that camp. Kevin Kane, for reference, right now in the field, trying to settle from the mid-pack or so in this one so far. So expect the field runs tonight to go about 55-ish laps, but the tires are the more important part. How do you plan the strategy, Dylan?
Well, it's going to be difficult no matter what. Yes, you can go 55 laps on a tank of fuel. That means it's going to be a 2-stop race at least. From that point on, you're probably looking at splitting it up into thirds. Coming in at lap 40, come in at lap 80. That's given the thought that this is going to go green flag the rest of the way, which I feel like other than maybe a 5-lap deviation from that, you've got to look at it like it will go green the rest of the way, especially if the caution system is going to be as lenient tonight as we saw with that first incident.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, some of the doors for his trucks holding for Mercurio and Frisch have now changed spots just about. Refresh that. You also throw into there the fact that drivers like Clampett are also on the prowl. Mercurio in his green and black truck still looking to drive out of the lead. There's a look, though, at Clampett. Up and down when it comes to the runs, just shy of the title fight in the college series that ended up in the past couple weeks, Braden.
Yeah, going back on points battles, not just in the college series, but looking at tonight, McCandless had to pit for damage, 4 laps down, just actually hit the wall again, and he's falling back fast. Still on track, trying to get as many points as he can. Currently 20th after the drop, about 240 points to the good as far as the cutoff goes. So I don't think he's going to be outside of the top 7. We got Andrew Freenos there, who's behind him and looks like he should be done for the night unless he comes back out on track or something. But 8 laps down currently. He's right there on the bubble, so not going good for him. Same with Luke Tomsky, 4 laps down. Actually disconnected. He was the initial contact there with Freenos. Disconnected, came back in, and he's out there tugging laps as well. He's right below that cutoff line, too.
Yeah, he's going to need to hope for a lot of attrition tonight to get back on that lead lap, to say the least. What else can you say other than bad luck? With the contact so hard, it causes a tech issue. The race lead is close again, though, because Phillip and Mercurio are very tight. In fact, the top 4. 30 flats for Phillip, a couple 100s quicker last time for Mercurio. Mercurio right now has been in the process of trying to get some runs to the inside, but nothing doing yet.
It's so hard to make any passes here, but especially trying to send it down the inside with how much the tires wear out here over the course of a green flag run at Darlington. You have to pick the spots that you send it in deep on the inside carefully. If you're still a car length or a truck length from this series back, it might not be the wisest, especially almost halfway through what we presume is going to be a 40 or so lap green flag run for these drivers.
Clampett, by the way, has moved past Frisch. He's now one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack in the one machine. And we touched upon this in terms of being the runner-up. Clampett's been a runner-up a couple times in photo finishes this season in this series. He's somehow yet to get a win in his quest to return to the Coke Series. It feels like he should have at least one by this point.
I think if you took an extra second and gave it to Clampett and kind of diversified it through the road to pro season, he'd probably be a multi-time winner across multiple races. I mean, he's been so close so many times. And, talking about winning, Brian Mercurio, he's a driver we've seen a lot this season, currently leading the points before and after the drop, currently running second. But he has a lot of experience at this track. I was actually watching him last night running in UFL, and he dominated that race, and that was in the Xfinity B-Class car, which the tire wear on that is very crucial. So I think he's kind of smooth sailing and hasn't really allowed Agnel Phillip to pull away, but Mercurio definitely a fan favorite here to watch tonight, I feel like.
Joseph Galata amongst those in a train of Conti trucks starting to build up. You also have that mixed Justin Art Smith. Galata amongst those in that group in front, by the way, who's a part of the throwback camp. That is, yes, a throwback to Bigfoot, which for a long time, correct me if I'm wrong here, Dylan, was a part of the Monster Jam tour. Now has switched over to Hot Wheels, believe it or not.
That's pretty awesome. I know that, we talk about Evan Pasoko with his connections and work experience with Monster Jam. That would definitely be something up his alley, but that is a cool-looking scheme, or as I talked to Shane Van Gisbergen about his throwback this weekend in the Xfinity Series race to Marcos Ambrose, and he called it a livery, as one would in non-NASCAR competition.
Yeah, as the pass is made in front, I was about to say that paint scheme is absolutely near perfect, that throwback. Cool. I have to give credit to.
Oh, it's very cool. Very, very cool. It's the font makes it work.
I'm glad you guys know the history behind a lot of this stuff, because I'm just looking and I'm like, man, that thing looks cool.
You also were born when, Brayton?
2002.
Okay.
I'm not that old.
No, but you're not. You're fairly young. Justin's the old grandpa of this broadcast.
Except he's carrying us with a cane.
I'm just the middle child.
I'm not that old, as here's the race lead. Clampett all of a sudden saying, knock, knock. Hi, I'm here.
He is certainly right there trying to make a move, and Agnel Phillip did not get all good. He got squirrely getting on the power, and here comes Clampett down the inside. Phillip lets him go.
That Clampett has turned the nitro boosters on, hit the turbo switch, found a bottle on Nos in the grandstands and threw in his truck, and good night Irene. I mean, past Brian Mercurio for a second like he was standing still, and most typically when you set up a pass here at Darlington, you got to set up for 2 or 3 laps and hope the person in front of you makes a mistake, but Clampett found something that clearly no one else has.
Clampett's a 1/10 of a second quicker than everybody else in the field at the moment. Hearing a lot of contact in the heart of the field. Andrew Navarro, we keep an eye on that group. He just made contact with one of his teammates trying to get to the inside of Justin R. Smith. They nearly had a stack up down the front straightaway in the battle for 10th.
I think a lot of this, guys, is coming from the fact that tires are beginning to wear off fairly quickly here. Darlington, an older racetrack, older surface, and the lines are very difficult. It's an abrasive track for these trucks, and we currently see some side-by-side battling happening all throughout this field right now. The drivers that have saved are going to start to push mightily coming to this first pit cycle in around 15 to 20 laps time.
Lap 25 already in this one here tonight as they continue to zip around the circuit. Clampett, Phillip, Mercurio, Frisch, Hill, your top 5. Now, we talked about the difficulty to make passes. We're seeing that really come into play for a lot of these competitors right now. Your biggest movers are in the backup 5. You know who's fallen through the field? Real quick, I'm going to mention Jack Mace, who mentioned in turn 1 and 2 on the opening lap he had a calibration issue. He's since then gone -7 so far.
And not good go around for Jack Mace. Came in this one 58 points to the good. Has been a second splitter most of the Road to Pro season. Made his top split debut last time out at Dover, 25th place finish. Has a 2 top 5s on the second split action. Not going this well around, I guess, for a second time in top split this season.
Take a look at some of the battles still as they continue to zip around. 27 laps in now. Up towards the front here. see some of the traffic start to build up amongst the heart of the pack as things still stay compressed together here. You have Cade McClenny, that's amongst those that are in the top half of the field. Amongst those who are keeping an eye on the battle, you have Kevin Champagne, who's going to the inside. Champagne's an interesting one, by the way, because he's amongst those who is next in line to potentially get a lock if he does well tonight. He came out of nowhere for that.
Yeah, he's almost certainly going to lock himself into the top 70 and get to the next round of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Series. We estimate he only needs 9 points to lock himself in. And he's had a very, very solid series so far, has had a good amount of top 5 finishes. Of course, he had a very, very nice run at Atlanta earlier in the year. But, you know, it's all about making sure you stay confident and stay, you know, composed during the first few races, which are pretty much all super speedways. They're pack races in a way, as you see a little bit of difficulty, some contact between drivers coming off of turn 2 there.
That's what debut for Cade McClenny, known for being a short track racer and not being afraid to be aggressive in the trucks and officials. He's back in line, though, as he goes back to 15th. Matthew Morton on the move. Kevin Kington is amongst those in this shuffle of drivers. He's currently trying to figure out what to do. Is in the wall. Goes one driver. It's Connor Shawn who hits the fence.
Not a great night so far, Shawn. He's going to lose a ton of time outside on Kevin King. About ping-ponged himself off the wall and into Kevin King. Able to get back going straight. Turn 2 has been a troubled corner for a lot of these guys. It seems to get real tight. They're coming off, and I'm sure these 30-lap old tires aren't playing any favors. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some people try to do an undercut. There's all kinds of different pit strategies at Darlington. I like to see what works out and what doesn't. There's no real set strategy that works out. But I think we can expect some people undercutting here in a little bit.
Speaking of drivers looking to cut underneath some people, Warman, who's been running 5th for a while now, he's saying, you know what? It's time to put a Ford up in the top 4. Inside, underneath the Toyota TRD. No move complete, though. Warman forced to reset.
You know, I'm looking up ahead at the front of the field, just in front of Quinton Warman. And Logan Clampett has moved into almost a 1-second lead over the rest of the field. It just shows how difficult it is to make passes here. Agno Phillip has definitely slowed down over the course of this run. He has compressed everybody else in the field together where they really can't make that many moves. That's why we see a driver like Warman at the back of a Ford truck train right now, kind of just staying put, nowhere to go. It's a one-lane kind of track.
Well, that's what Darlington is, right? It's a track that, for turns 1 and 2, has to be single file. You go side by side, you risk contact. Coming to turn 2, you risk major contact because you have to be slowing up and get the diamond down. 3 and 4 is the best opportunity, if not the front straightaway, Braden, with what we've seen over the years here at Darlington.
Well, not just, something we've seen over the years. Something we've become really used to is Logan Clampett out front. Now over that, Stabs is well over a second advantage, 1.2 seconds to Agno Phillip. But Clampett has been absolutely dominant. We talked about a little bit ago how it's shocking he hasn't gotten a win. But looking at laps led, he's been in top split this entire Road to Pro round 1 season. So he's going against the best of the best of the best right here. 218 laps led. He's the only one of a handful of drivers even in triple digits, let alone being over 200 laps led.
Amazing season for Clampett in his return. As we touched upon at the start of the season, he said the blueprint a couple years ago in the media. He's followed the blueprint to a T, has the lead by near a second and a half. Lap traffic for the first time, by the way. Andrew Freenage has now lost his 19th, now 20 laps down. Good effort to keep in the race because Lukemski is officially out. Got to get points here with how he's on the bubble just about.
Yeah, it's all about points racing here. It's no win and you're in. It's you got to point your way in. And Andrew Farinas has opted to just keep that truck running on the apron for the entirety of this race. Has not come down pit road for any kind of change. And I think that's a strategy play. He's hoping that a caution comes out and more drivers wreck themselves and have problems in this one.
Freenage was 8 points to the good per the projections. showcased by Garrett Mashburn of Sauer Esports. Not going to be good for the finale if things hold firm. You see some of the more pokes, though. Noah Bitts, interested up, barely made tonight's top split. We've seen good pace from him. He's one of the team's better long-run drivers.
That bitch actually hanging on pretty solid there in the top 15, currently running 13th. But no, Kevin Champagne, we talked about him a little bit as well, making his top split debut as well tonight, I believe. But you got two drivers, the iRacing and the iRating system. You're ranked as based off the iRating. So the better driver you are, the lower number you are. Logan Clampett, for example, is the highest ranked driver, so he's number one. You only have 35 drivers in this field, and you got Noah Bitts and Kevin Champagne, which is 31 and 32nd. So these are some of the lowest ranked drivers, still the best of the best, but the lowest drivers amongst this field is running inside the top 15. So great go around this time around for these guys.
Pit window was open last time by. Max Brady ducked in for the first scheduled pit service, so he goes for the undercut just prior to the lap 40 mark.
Hit the wall. No Bitts hit the wall hard, trying to interrupt it, but hit the wall hard to come off the turn 4 and lost 3 spots. So a bit of a commentator's curse for him. Still in the wall.
And it looks like he might have broke something just about. Let's see what happened. Daniel Smallwood having apologies on the radio. Oh, wow.
That's just an aspect of racing tight and trying to make moves at a track that is very difficult to make moves at. Wrong place, wrong time, and he continues to just try and get out of the way, but it's hard to do that when the truck is as damaged as it apparently is.
He lost 7 spots from it. On the bright side, didn't collect anybody else in the incident. Michael Frisch is in, pit party time. Agno Phillip, Brian Mercurio, and more coming in this wave. Expect a whole flurry of pit stops. Phillip amongst those who just made the commitment cone. Frisch missing his pit stall in live action. Multiple others are nearly speeding. That's how tight the entry is here for tonight.
This is a very tight pit road entry. It's kind of deep off in the corner, but so far off the race line. You see a huge line of guys that are getting ready to come in, make a good pit stop here. This is a money stop. It's not the last stop. It's not the most important stop, but it's the one that pays. So, reference there to the Money Lap podcast, but that you mess up here is going to ruin the rest of the race for sure. But you got guys almost wrecking. Blaze Crawford almost wrecks getting on the pit road. Kevin Champagne in, Matheson in, Kevin King gets a lot more guys coming down.
Yeah, there's pit parties and there's pit stampedes. We got a stampede of drivers who wanted to go. Interestingly enough, Clampett yet to respond. Galata, Smith, Navarro, McClenny, Tucker, Pace, Avila, and Shamoon are also stretching it. Now, per what has been seen in the league, scene, drivers can stretch it around 55, near 60 laps if they need to. That is going to be an interesting one, Dylan. You know why? Because if you stretch it to 60, both runs, it's going to be a tight stretch, but it'd be a one stop.
Certainly be a tight stretch. My only concern in that kind of case is the fall off is massive, right? No matter how you place it. You look at a lap from Logan Clampett, the last lap, 31.418. His first lap, or I should say, once he got going here, his fastest lap of the race was a 28.770. That is a almost 3-second fall off from that, only in 44 laps. You go another 15 laps, that's going to even be greater fall off. Is all of that worth a saving some time down the pits, maybe 40 or so seconds? Maybe, but it's a strategy that I don't expect to see most of the top runners to take, which is why I'm surprised that Logan is staying out as long as he is.
So it's not to jump in here, but you lose about 45 seconds per pit stop here, and the lap difference is, these guys are 2 or 3 laps or 2 or 3 seconds a lap quicker. So it's realistically only your 10 or 15 laps before they caught back up to you. So Logan Clampett might be trying to stretch it, but I think he's still going to lose a lot of time here in the long run.
I like the math, Brayton.
Yeah. Now, interesting enough, and that's why I'm going to mention this, Logan Clampett said in his social media post for tonight's race, he is streaming it so everybody knows his strategy. He is indeed about in the money to make it by 0.2 to the halfway point.
Did he mention that on something, like he tweeted his strategy?
Nope. He tweeted that everyone can watch him pull off his strategy.
That's incredible. So there's being dominant where you have to hide your
Calling a
speed
shot.
secrets, and then there's being so dominant you let everyone know what you're doing and you're still dominant.
Now, he's going to be on defense for the back end of the race, though, Dylan. That's going to be huge. Or on the offense, at least, for the first half.
Well, the biggest thing that he needed early on in this race, you saw before the pit cycle started around lap 42, he already stretched his lead to around 2 seconds. So if he can do that on equal tires, can he lose less time than is necessary for cars or trucks in behind to catch up and pass? Potentially. I mean, if there's one driver I could see win this race on a one-stop strategy, I'd say Logan would certainly be that one driver, right? He's the top driver in terms of I rating in this Road to Pro series. Would not shock.
The math is going to be tight. It's going to require some very magic fuel-saving trees to be planted around the gas tank, potentially for the pit stop pretty soon. That's estimated to be around lap 60, if not start of it. The current
Look at the
rate
speed difference.
Yeah, they're going to be just about zipping by a good 2 to 3 seconds quicker. Clampett nearly hit the wall, letting him go.
With some teams, you're going to have a speed difference for the next 10 to 11 laps before Clampett pits. He's going to come down and pit, then have 20 lap pressure tires and everyone else will be about a second and a half, 2 seconds quicker. But if he goes to the end, then everyone's going to be able to come back down at lap 80, and you're going to have 40 laps to make up any lost time. So I just don't really see the strategy working out for Clampett. He might get lucky with a caution. But at this point, he's already bled too much. I don't think he can change it up. He's got to stick with it, and he might prove me wrong. I hope he does. I hope he's able to get that first win. But we have an interesting top three. We mentioned the I-rating number ranked drivers. Clampett number 1, Kay McClinney, number 33 there in second. But Larry Pace is a driver we've talked about. Not for a good reason, though. He has struggled all season long. He's trying something different tonight, too. Same strategy I'm assuming as Clampett, currently running third.
Yeah, it's a hornet's nest of those wanting to get by. Some of these drivers have noticed so far as well. Just as you said, by the way, just so you know, Braden, when you said potentially a caution, McClellan here we got ran over by 6 different trucks. Now, we keep it green. Larry Pace is in. He goes an extra 10 laps on the overcut. Let's talk about those in terms of net battles, because Frisch did stay in front of Phillip. Mercurio, Hill, Pfeffer is how the cycle has gone so far net, Braden.
That's going to be interesting to see where these guys recycle through. Pace on a bit of a different strategy, like you said. Just not coming down, trying to do a little bit of overcut, but he got Frisch over Phillip and Mercurio there, and actually not by much. They're catching Frisch pretty good. They pit all within a lap or two of each other, so they're all pretty close in times. When it catches, Jake Nichols and Dan Shamoon, who are significantly slower, it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate around it with Darlington being a one-lane track.
Seen amongst those who really needs things to go green here as well, Jake Nichols. Remember, he got spun around, Dylan, at the start of the race with the incident that didn't bring a caution out. He's currently 5th and is about to be caught by those on fresher tires. He needs a caution and quick way to get track position.
Yeah, he's in a much different scenario, of course, than a driver like Logan Clampett. Staying out for Logan is because he wants this strategy to work out and him to win the race with that strategy. Jake Nichols is hoping that by him staying out, a caution will come out, a well-timed caution that gets him back into lead lap, mid-pack racing. That's what he is hoping for, at least right now, but time is winding down for the caution that he needs to come out. And speaking about that, we're almost at the halfway point of this race, and it has been caution-free. Logan Clampett in a very uncomfortable spot right now because of all of these faster drivers that have just made their way by him. You can see that speed difference. You can see the sun just glaring down as it starts to set here in Darlington, South Carolina. But Clampett's got another 6 laps to go before he can safely get down pit road and know he can make it the rest of the way.
1 second of fall-off difference between his truck and those who are already 20 laps into their tire runs, by the way. Halfway point within 5 laps at the stripe. There's a look at the best lap difference compared to the current lap trend. That's on the money where you need to be. 2.5 seconds at fall-off seems to be the optimal for the curve for the end.
Yeah, he's definitely managing it really well. Someone that we talked about a little bit ago is Larry Pace, trying to do an overcut compared to everyone else. quickest car on track, obviously. Actually, we got one driver in, Johnny Avila, in the 30 truck coming down this time. So, not sure if that was a mandatory stop if he got damage.
Caution! Caution is out. Trouble on the racetrack in turn 2. Sander Nyhoff goes around in the Nexus machine. That was with help from Kevin King for the yellow.
Well, this changes everything.
Well, this really changes the fuel strat to a fuel save race. Now, here's what happened. Watch what happens after the contact that comes in turn 1.
I mean, we're going to see coming into turn 1, Sander Niehoff gets into the corner, hits kind of the apron part right below that white dotted line, and comes right back up on the track, hits Andrew Navarro pretty big time, and another truck got collected there underneath. Andrew is absolutely incensed on the radio, saying to Sander to control that truck. We'll get another look from up top here. It's a close battle. 98-29 goes down underneath him, but bails out. Right here, the 34 just takes way too much speed into the corner, kind of got dumped a little bit, but it's hard racing, and then just swings it back up on the track.
Yeah, that was also hard on the wall, Andrew Navarro. It's been a rough handful of races for him. He started the season with 3 podiums at Daytona, Vegas, Atlanta. Was a points leader for a long bit, and then hasn't really gone his way ever since. 27th at Richmond, 23rd at Texas, and 34th last time out at Dover. So this definitely isn't going to help him at all.
Merle tried to miss it, just no space to do so, and he's now got significant mandatory repairs to the front end. Pit party time, though, for the whole field. This helps Logan keep the lead. McClenny also picks up a lot of track position from this. This also helps Jake Nichols, Dan Shamoon, and a couple others in a big way. From the back of the field towards at least the mid to front. Race off the pit lane, won by Clampett this time. Dan Shamoon comes out in second. That was a pit stop for Shamoon.
Yeah,
that
Shamoon had
was...
a
Wow.
13.6. That is one of the quickest 4-tire stops I have probably seen in all my years broadcasting, which haven't been many. But I typically, I'm a big stat guy. I don't think I've ever seen a 4-tire pit stop, at least in the truck, as far as Road to Pro C6 goes, quicker than a 13.7. So Shamoon at 13.6 there picks up a ton of spots in the process.
So he is out in second, but is looking like he's going to be one of the many saying, we've got to save. Per the notes received from some of those in the know, it is at the line running out of fuel projection if you attempt to save. We're that tight on fuel.
That's, that's exactly what we were seeing right there from Logan Clampett, who we didn't see if he could make it, but pretty much he got close to it. We know Logan is a capable driver of saving the fuel necessary, but will he do it in this race? Will drivers come down for a quick 30 and 30 stint, which means you can also go as hard as possible on that those 4 set tires that you need to. It's even more so leaning into the fuel saving is the best strategy kind of mode, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure at this point. You need to get 30 laps. 30 laps of 2.5 seconds of a difference. Great, and I still think the math works to coming in for tires.
I was getting ready to jump in there. I think that the half and half strategy is definitely the favorite here. Just because we mentioned you lose about 45 seconds every time you come down a pit, at a minimum of 45 seconds. But you're going to be 1.5 to 2 seconds quicker than Lowe's on, 30 or 40 lap old tires. They stay out there for 50 or 60 laps. They're going to be really struggling to grip all around. Clampett was almost 3 seconds off there. So you're going to fall off quite a bit yourself after you pit. So when they're, 3 seconds off, you're only about 1.5 seconds. But you still have plenty of time to make up if you pit about 30 laps into the run.
Wave arounds now being completed. That includes Navarro, Avila, Pace, and Murray. Alex Murray in his top split debut here tonight in the Conti Camp. He's right now it's running 27th. As we get ready for the halfway point for the restart and a fuel mileage race now from Darlington if it goes green. We'd like to remind you tonight's coverage brought to you in part by iRacing. Line on his training tool by countless professional drivers. iRacing is unrivaled as a racing simulator because its creators have managed to capture every last car and track detail and recreate them in a package that perfectly encapsulates the feeling behind the wheel of a race car, pushing its mechanical limits on courses designed to test drivers. And the industry agrees. iRacing.com. Go there tonight to sign up and become a member today. Green, 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 already on the loud pedal is Clamp It. And now it gets interesting. 60 laps to go. Everybody onto the fuel strat.
And that was a great restart there for Clamp It. Early advantage over Shamoon at almost 3/10 out the line. So Dan Shamoon, great pit stop, great early first half of the race. Up 31 spots. You're currently running second.
First side-by-side, Chris Hill has Pfeffer alongside a teammate. Able to get the poke around. Pfeffer has the momentum high side, able to take away a spot from a teammate. No, Hill's got the run instead to keep it side-by-side.
Oh man, such good racing right here. You see that down the inside. It's going to be hard to hold the momentum, and the 66 just flies right on by and still stuck on the inside here.
Still not able to clear on by. This time high side, it's Quentin Warman, who was top 5 much of the last run. He's able to move up for now into the 8th position. Now it becomes the fuel game. How many people are going to go and commit to it? How many try and split the run in half?
Well, I think if you're committing to the long run here, you got to commit this entire 60-lap run. You can't go hard for the first 30 and try and save the last 30. This isn't going to work out at all. We got one driver low on the apron. That's Casey Tucker. Currently 1 lap down, about to go 2 laps down. So I'm not sure what happened to Tucker there, but
yeah, Tucker is going to be a pain for some of these drivers here.
Yet a penalty on the restart. Had to serve it under green. That's why Tucker is now at risk of losing a 2nd lap this race. That's going to take away the clean air advantage for Clamp It, at least for the time being.
This track is fast, and dirty air does play a big factor, especially when the margins are so thin and you're trying to keep this truck planted to the track surface and turning, especially with, you know, both angles, both corner sets are fast, even with turns 3 and 4 being slower. You're still hitting 135, 140 through those corners. Here, I mean, these drivers are at 160 constantly mid-corner and then accelerating on exit upwards of 167. So not much speed is scrubbed off in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You're scrubbing probably around 30 miles per hour on fresh tires.
Yeah, right now some of the battles too starting to pick up again. A lot of give and take this time from Frisch as he lets Pfeffer go. McClenny stays slotted in line, and McClenny in particular was able to jump from 17th up to the top 5 for the restart because of that call initially to stay up that whole time. Now it's a huge question mark. Can he keep the truck up there in a true test in one of his first top split appearances in an RTP event ever?
That's showing on a good test or a good run. Dan Shamoon, I thought he'd start to fall off a little bit there. Wasn't really a name we talked about in the first half, and not only stayed in the top 3 here, he stayed right on the back bumper. Logan Clamp It, closest anyone's been ever since Clamp It inherited the lead, at least on a level playing field. I mean, they've put away over half a second from Brian Mercurio and Christopher Pfeffer. So Logan Clamp It, Dan Shamoon, these two are starting to go at it. Shamoon almost looking inside for the lead.
Taking our peek now, looks like Shamoon saying, I've finally got track position. I'm ready to show that I've got pace outright. He's from Nitro Racing, which is another grouping of drivers on the setup side that we haven't talked about all season because he's been in the back all season. I think at this point, if you're Matt Cucker, one of the main people involved in that camp, who is, by the way, on the bubble entering tonight as the first one out in 71st projected spot, you're jumping up and down, find out.
You know, I'm watching Logan Clamp It's lines here, and to me, this is the line of a driver and the speed of a driver who is taking it easy. I think he could very easily start to move and run away from Dan Shamoon and others, but look at the line. He's just kind of letting the truck bring itself into the corner, bring it down, kind of naturally there. Dan Shamoon is really pushing the truck, truck into the corner, trying to stick with that low line, make a move past Clamp It. To me, I feel like Logan is committed to that 60-lap run once again. And that's why this top part of the field is a little bit squished up right now.
Bad news for Kevin King fans. Looks like he's now got mandatory repairs. He was running 19, just got into the wall with contact with Joseph Galata, and it looks like his chances tonight may be done.
That Galata, another driver too, that is right there on the bubble. I believe within about 20 or 30 points, 42 points right below the cutoff, which we mentioned 5 points, 40 points, 200 points. It sounds like a lot of points. It isn't like a standard NASCAR Ledford system. It varies based on your rankings, but you can gain as many as 400 plus points a race. So one good race and one bad race can definitely mean a lot, especially when you're in double digits. So Galata falling back a ton of spots here since the green flag is dropped, and definitely not the way he wanted this race to go, I'm sure.
Already under 50 laps to go, and let's touch upon how the track conditions are real quick right now. We started around near the same point, believe, for tonight, if not a little bit higher. It's 87 degrees Fahrenheit right now for the track temperature, and that's with a ton of rubber. Just look at how much rubber is planted in the corners right now. It's pretty slick for a nighttime or a dusk setting right now, Dylan.
Yeah, it is, and it'll continue to go down in temperature, not too much based off of where it is, but it will continue to cool. Not a lot of time for it to cool considerably, so the conditions now are, give or take, where the conditions are going to end when this race does find its checkered flag. Look how much closer that Dan Shamoon got to Logan Clampett's left rear, and even with Clampett saving, I mean, this is the track that you want to be P1 in to save fuel and save tires, right? You can make your truck as wide as possible and take away some of the preferred lines from maybe faster cars or trucks that are pushing it into each corner a little bit more. I mean, you see the line. Shamoon is now kind of drifting up as well because he's been pushing that truck as much as he has been. And he's starting to suffer a little bit because Clampett is holding him back as much as possible. It's a defensive line.
It's defensive, but also they're near identical on pace within a couple hundred. When you're a couple hundreds on pace, it's hard to make the pass. When it's a tenth, it's easier. Oh, big clutch and coast from Clampett in the entry. And it looks like he says, you know what? Go ahead, Dan. You deserve the lead.
And that was almost catastrophic for Clampett and Shamoon. I think Clampett knew he's looking a little short, might have to go to his stream and see where he's lining up to be. But also this run that's different. We talked about it when it first happened after the restart was Casey Tucker coming out, currently 1 lap down, trying not to go 2 laps down. Looking at his lap times, he's been this past lap only a tenth or so quicker, but he's been 2 or 3 tenths quicker, it seems, the last couple times by competitor leaders. I'm not sure why, if he's in very clean air compared to everyone else. So interesting to see. What is even more interesting to see, though, Max Brady in the 11 truck coming down, one of their first takers. Still 44 laps to go, but he's going to come out actually right in front of their leader, Dan Shamoon. Shamoon got to make evasive action going into the corner. That could have been bad.
By the way, that's Max Brady. He is on the alt strategy. He elected to undercut for the midway portion of how many laps left to go. That was almost like a hard right to be able to get on the track before that.
That was a wild blend back in. And not only that, I'm surprised that Brady came in with 16 laps into this run. He's going to have to go 44 laps. It's obviously he'll be able to make it. But that is such a severe undercut, and I'm surprised that we're seeing drivers do it. Look at that, the 17 Brady, just hard right, but it's not like he was unpredictable once he was up against the wall there. Shamoon just was a little bit uncomfortable with any driver there. And by the way, remember what I was saying about Logan Clampett saving? Yeah, I don't think anyone's questioning that now. The Shamoon has stretched this lead to over 1 second now over the number 1 truck. And again, Clampett is saving for a reason, and that's why the gap is so big now. If Shamoon was able to get by Clampett earlier, this is a whole different ballgame. We're talking a different kind of race.
Well, I'm going to jump in here real quick. The thing is with the pit strategy, you pit halfway and you got to make up on time. But if you pit from the lead and already have an advantage coming in, that definitely seals the deal for the half and half strategy we think Inchmoon's going for here. I mean, these guys are already having to back up their pace big time, but I'm a big favorite. I'm a big fan of the half and half strategy, JP. I want to kind of poke your mind at this. I know you've seen these guys and you're more invested in them than most of us are. What do you think these guys are trying to do here?
I mean, I'll put it this way. Dan Shamoon is projected to be 156 coming into tonight, 48 points from the top spot. If things go per the projections, he's not making round 2 no matter what. He's one of the first 20 that are estimated to be out of contention per the stat sheets coming into tonight. Why not go for broke and see if you can disrupt the championship?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a big way to put it. We talked about him, being 292 off the cutoff. And if he's able to win this race, that would be huge for him. Best finish so far for Shimano this season was a 20, as far as tops, it was a 21st at Texas and Dover. So his average point per race has been 179 points average. If he's able to win this estimated, and I'm sure you have a live tracker, sorry, someone should, but definitely over 400.
Meanwhile, Maconi, the Kern County Raceway machine. Of course, that racetrack picking up some investment from Kevin Harvick recently over the offseason. Looks like Maconi just taking a lot right now. He's back to the 10th position after originally starting top 5 this run.
Yeah, right now Maconi is just kind of letting trucks roll on by. Matthew Morton in behind him, and there's a lot of trucks all in this blanket right here. Look at that. It's a hornet's nest behind Maconi, and it's the accordion effect, right? You start to push everyone back, and the faster truck's going to start to move up towards you as Matthew Morton really was looking excited to go down the inside of Cabe Maconi, and Maconi shut the door at the last moment there.
A lot of drivers playing a lot of games here. Munstle's now in this choo-choo train. Matthew Morton still falling on with. He's riding the bottom with Champagne. Jake Matheson, the Nexus Esports teammate in the backdrop, able to now follow suit. It looks like they might be trying to at least make passes on some. It leads to the question, if you're pushing like this or at least trying to make passes, is that a good sign? Or better yet, is it a sign of those who saved to start the run instead of end the run, or vice versa?
I'm not really sure what some of these guys are doing. I'm sure everyone's on a little bit different strategy. Driver, though, it's had a lot of speed, see right here in the middle of this mess. It's going to be the 07 truck of Jack Mace. Had a rough initial lap, lost a ton of time, a ton of spots, and has slowly but surely been working his way up to the field, riding on board now with Jake Matheson. That's Mace there right behind him, that red truck you're watching. But Mace is able to carry a little bit more speed on entry and make up a ton of time on this train, and has slowly but surely been picking these guys off one by one.
Good recovery from Mace after all the struggles of the last run. He went from -7 at one point last run now to a +1. Looking to make it +2 as Matheson opens the door on Maconi. Maconi struggling to end the run, if not hard clutching. Yes, indeed. Mace near contact as Maconi checks up the inside line. Mozganov now gets boxed in as that allows Champagne to move by.
And this is going to get a little bit hairy. All these drivers trying to make it 2 by 2. And then slow on the inside is Maconi. Are they going to go 3 wide? Almost. A spin almost. Because Jack Mace, or excuse me, I can't even quite tell. It was actually Blaze Crawford who has put Cabe Maconi back in 18th. What a struggle in the last few laps for Cabe.
Yeah, this has got to be hard. Aggressive fuel save. If he's backing it up that much, he's gone from 5th to 20th this run. And it requires a lot of skill, Braden, when it comes to not just fuel saving, like Clampett, for example, or some of the others up front, but to also be fast doing so. That takes experience to race against the best of the best.
Yeah, you got to limit yourself. That's a hard thing to do as a race car driver, both on iRacing, both in a real road. You got to be able to, tell yourself, hey, we're on a slower pace down, set yourself back, not let yourself go full throttle out there. When I first joined iRacing, I thought, man, I can just fuel save and beat everyone. So I was 20 seconds lap slower at like a road course, and I didn't realize I had to be fast and still manage to fuel save. I never quite got that one worked out, but some of these guys are really impressive. They're fuel saving, some of them able to shake things up. Speaking of shaking things up, pit stop time for a lot of these guys. Daniel Smallwood coming down, a couple others following him as well. I know Kevin King, he's in. Actually, he's got damage, but Pfeffer in, Daniel Smallwood, a couple other guys getting fuel and tires.
So the pit window is open, it looks like, coming around to 30 to go. This time by, we just had Quentin Warman duck into the pit lane, by the way. Champagne also amongst those in with Philip Groner. So it looks like not as much of a stampede this time around as people try and feel things out and see, are we going to go green or are we going to get a late caution at the end of the tire life?
It can certainly happen where another caution comes out. Again, it kind of happened out of nowhere last time, and it took until almost halfway as Kevin Champagne gets into his box right now. So if there is going to be a caution, I'd say it's going to be very easily in the last 15 laps of this race when the strategies start to really overlap here.
Dan Shamoon already in the pit lane, just missed his stall, just received the note of. So he's going to lose some time after being the overall race leader. Off and away already on the pit service with less than 30 laps to go in this one. It's been a thriller so far for those tuning in throughout the night for the qualifying series here on iRacing, social media platforms, and Maconi Entertainment. For those tuning in, we had a restart with 60 laps to go even. The fuel run at the top end is 59.5 per the projections seen throughout the field tonight. Right now, we're 35 laps into the run. Aggressive fuel save is on the cards for the entire field of those who are in the 35-lap category still.
That's going to be interesting to see. Dan Shamoon dominated basically after taking the lead past the halfway restart from Clampett. And he's really the only competition Clampett's had all night. Clampett going for the long run, Shamoon on a half-and-half strategy. So the next couple laps, we're going to get a good reading to see if he's going to be able to catch Clampett. So I think they've nailed their coffins. At this point, they can't change the deal.
Now, as we have an opportunity of calmness for the next couple moments here, mind you, tonight's coverage also with the sister network with second split coverage tonight in FDN. FDN just started its pit cycle where it has been Michael Mitchum who has been dominating in second split tonight. Right now, amongst those who are locked in from that side or projected to potentially be locked in from top 70 is Joe Armstrong. He's been having a stellar run. I have to give him credit towards that from Express Esports. Cody Porter in his camp. Going to be very happy from that one, Braden.
Some, too, I've realized, looking at some of our top split guys, I don't think we've seen, and you might be able to help me out, if he's in second split, Nathan Nicholson's been in top split this entire season and was only 6 points below the cutoff, and he's not, I haven't seen him, and I don't think I overlooked him, but I haven't seen Nicholson.
Not in a while.
Second split. I don't know if he's in second split or what, or some guys just, at this point in the season, guys know they're not going to make it, but Nicholson was only 6 points below the cutoff. And unless he's in second split, he's missing action tonight.
You know who's been charged of the field in this run? As drivers are still some in, some out. Brandon Hawken, he's been extremely quiet tonight. Right now, 13th in the 27 truck on the racetrack for Nexus. Up and down his campaign so far, Dylan, but always one of the top competitors. We touched upon him every single time about his attitude, how he's been able to build the respect on the roadside especially, and has in the past 2 years used those connections for the roadside and that personality and his reputation to build the oval accolades.
It's very difficult to be almost a multi-discipline iRacer, and not just because of how different it is, how different the disciplines are, learning the fine-tuning of each oval and racing alongside a bunch of drivers that are only feet or inches apart at any one time. A lot of it is because every other driver has the experience ×2 of what you've got because of your time restraints. If you're splitting it, right? If you're going from the oval side and the road side, or if you're doing it together, well, you're going to struggle unless you've got that natural skill, that natural talent against a driver who has only ever specifically raced road, only ever raced oval. The drivers who can do both, that's pretty impressive on its own remarks.
For reference, he's also one of those, by the way, who at one time won the Prodigy Racing League in the past year. That series that we've seen talked about a lot on the platform as of late with the connections to real world racing abilities. Sliding around is the 24 truck in the midst of the traffic on track. That's Philip Groner. Right now trying to pass by some of those who are staying out. This is the battle between the fresh tires and the old tires. Mace trying to let people go as well. Two of the Nexus machines going low side. It's time for Serpentine.
Well, now we got the new tires versus the old tires. Looking at time, Shamoon passed Clamp at the last time body get back on the lead lap, so Acosta comes out. Definitely going to shake things up for those. But looking at lap times, Clampett and Shamoon. Shamoon was leader before pit stops. Now it's about 1.4 seconds quicker than Clampett. Under 20 laps to go, and right at about a 28-29 second buffer. So he's going to get right there in the last handful of laps if this goes green.
It's going to be extremely close if it happens here. For some drivers, they need these good runs. For others, it's about seeing what happens. Daniel Smallwood amongst those who is nearly running over trucks. That's Joseph Galata, very slow. And now Galata, who already had contact this run, checking things up. That allows Shamoon to try and go inside. Shamoon lost a fair bit of time as a result of his mistake on pit road. Your net leader for that strategy, if it holds, is Pfeffer. He's already within about 25 seconds.
Yeah, already within 25 seconds. However, you have to remember, there's so much traffic he'll still have to get by. Yes, the speed difference, if we're talking about pure pace, that will be immense. And he's got a lot of clean air to work with right now. But if you're looking at a driver like Logan Clampett, like Brian Mercurio, they're not going to be easy to pass once he does catch up to them. And there's still so many drivers in between that Pfeffer, that Shamoon will have to use their speed to get around here.
And remember, Chris Pfeffer was the one who, a few weeks ago at Richmond, as he slams the wall, was the one who had the Bluetooth steering wheel rim. Since then, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he has returned that said rim. So no more Bluetooth. We'll find out if he ends up getting up front if that's the case.
Did you say Bluetooth?
Bluetooth rim and shifter.
So he
That's
wasn't
crazy.
hardwired, and he was racing on a Bluetooth steering wheel and shifter.
He confirmed that was the reason for the Richmond stack-up after the race.
That's incredible, and I love every single second. I always like trying stuff outside the box, typically in sim, but when you change your physical hardware like that, it's always interesting to see how it works and how it doesn't. Like bringing up Richmond and causing the stack-up, I don't think it worked out, but very interesting to see. And I didn't even know that existed.
I'm not going to touch upon that tonight, but what we will touch upon, the battle is going on with more drivers getting by. Larry Pates is the first to lap down, and he nearly presses a teammate in the wall. North Force Machines getting a little bit dicey as Mercurio keeps it off the wall and keeps it off pace.
That was quite squirrely right there. Mercurio is going to try to move around him, but of course Pace has got, can I say it, the Pace? Can I say that? Is that?
Yes.
I don't. Hey, it reminds me of a dad joke. You ready?
I'm ready
Let me give you
for
the
it.
dad joke. Let me give you the dad joke at this intense time. Why do racing drivers why do they make for really good people to go to for racing advice? For relationship advice, my bad.
What do you mean?
Why are race car drivers good to go to for relationship advice? They're trained to look for red flags.
Wow.
So, effective immediately, I'll be retiring here live. It's been good,
So
guys.
why are racing drivers not good to date themselves?
We've got 12 to go at the stripe. What is the point
Most of them
this?
have a checkered past. Continue, JP.
Wow. Dylan Coyle's statement on that. Okay, so let's talk about the racetrack. Right now, the temperature stayed the same. Right now, 31 flats for those who are in the fuel save and dropping on the pace. Right now, Mercurio half a second behind Clampett. And it is still close. If you look across the field, it's still razor-thin margins to make it.
Yes, look at the margins. Shamoon has picked up a little bit, but fallen off a lot more than I thought he would. About 11, 12 laps to go, and he's only at an 18-second gap, about still 1.2 seconds quicker. I thought the half-and-half strategy was going to work. I'm looking at it now, I'm questioning my sanity, and I don't think he's going to get there.
Yeah, this is going to be where if you can stretch it, you're likely going to get a good finish. And I think we just jinxed Daniel Smallwood because he just had a big technical blip. Never mind, he's fine.
Okay, let's look at the gap now with just over 10 laps and change remaining. Christopher Pfeffer, 17 seconds around that back, now 16.2 seconds back of Logan Clampett. That's not enough time that he has shaven off since we last checked in with him around 8-9 laps ago. I think that strategy might not end up working out.
Yeah, there's not enough time on the clock. 10 laps to go. Now on the racetrack, Clampett already making his way in through 1 and 2 with now 9 to go. And right now, with how it sits, you have Clampett. He's right now in the Team Conti camp. You have 2 of the North Force machines behind. You have some of the Altus partnered machines at Phillip and Hill. You have Nexus and Matheson Morden. You also have Jack Mace, Matthew Batby, Eugene Mazganov, your top 10 within 5 seconds of each other. I still don't think it's going to be safe for some.
Yeah, fuel is going to be definitely a worrisome factor here, and I'm not sure where everyone's running that. I was actually going to pull up Logan Campett's stream and see if it gets some insider information, but their pace hasn't really fallen off anywhere near as much as it did last time. And then again, it's gotten a little bit cooler. The track's heated up, but outside it's gotten a little bit cooler, and the track's a little more covered with clouds and whatnot. So I don't know if that's played a factor, but the newer tires, there's not as big as a difference there. And I don't think, we could have really expected that one to play a huge factor there. And I honestly would have picked a half-and-half strategy. I don't think it's going to work out unless we get a caution and change everything.
Clampett is amongst those in the safe zone. We'll just say that right now, based on the estimates, if it goes green. But it's about the bank on those, making sure they can go. In theory, if you get, say, half a lap up rated, or 3/4 of a lap up, or 1 lap, when's your time to say, we are X amount to the good, you can push if you are on the crew chief box?
Well, something you gotta worry about. We got 3 green-white checkers. You get green-white checkered, and you're done. I mean, you might as well just put the hop in the coffin yourself and then hot clean yourself in there. So you always want to save a little bit if you can. It depends who all pits and who pits with you, I guess. You might see some guys actually moving try to stay out, be getting green-white checker territory. But I mean, once you're about half a lap to the good, I feel like the final 3-4 laps is right about now, and in a lap or so, you can really start pushing if you're about half a lap to the good, I feel like.
That's an interesting thing you bring up, Ray, in that if we do have a green-white checker at all here, and a lot of drivers decide for some reason to stay out, and I don't assume that's going to happen, especially with how the fuel is looking here, but could you imagine 12 drivers on very old tires while other drivers on 30-lap old tires, they all stay out, and then they're all of a sudden going to have to get through 12 drivers in 2 laps at Darlington? I don't know. Stranger things have happened, but the fuel is going to be the limiting factor there for all of them having to come into the pits.
Down to 3 laps to go. It looks like Clampett has started to turn on the green light. He had been clutching, coasting it in 3 and 4. Still is a touch bit, but is more so on the throttle than before. It looks like he feels comfortable. The gap is near to 8/10. It was half a second a couple laps ago. 3 laps to go from Darlington.
Next Tampa looking for his first win. It's been so close so many times this season. 2 second-place finishes, over 200-plus laps led, and tonight I think might have pushed up 300 barrier. Looking at the numbers from his insider stream, he's about half a lap to the good. It's going to be tight, though.
It's going to be close. We'll see if he's able to get there fully. He's now trying to work in traffic. In fact, he's got some cars to utilize, if anything, if things hold. Mercurio's in push mode. Philip is in save mode along with Frisch with 2 laps to go.
It's going to be really close, but for Clampett and for all these drivers here, but I feel like all of them are pretty much going to make it to the end. The real question is if they start to lose the plot and start to slow down mightily, have to go into the pits with just 1 lap remaining with a white flag out. I don't know exactly who's going to necessarily win this thing.
1 to go, presented by Maconi Entertainment. Logan Clampett tonight has had raw pace for days. He's been a fuel maestro at this track. The first run, if it went green, he could have went to lap 60. Tonight, he had to go 60 laps to try and make it. Mercurio, 1 last heave, hoping for Clampett to run out. He will not. Logan Clampett finally wins an RTP for 2024.
Let me tell you, I was watching the Logan Clampett stream there, and going through 3 and 4, you could see his face just start to fill with relief and finally be able to get that first win of the season. And definitely a time that it mattered most here. Get ready to start round 2, in just a couple of races. So I think this is great for Logan Clampett.
He gets it done tonight by 7/10. Mercurio tried to push at the end. There's a lot of conversation, and there is currently even, on the fuel. But a strong finish for Clampett. Finally gets the win after being on the losing end in photo finishes several times in this qualifying series season so far.
It was a strategy that a lot of drivers ended up taking advantage of, and all the drivers that made that 60-lap final stint work, well, they end up, I think all of them pretty much in the top 14 were on that strategy. Brayton, I know we talked about it maybe not being the right strategy, but hey, it turned out to be the right one in the end by quite a margin.
Yeah, I didn't expect that to work out, especially as dominant as they were. I still can't believe, the entire basically top 14 or so were able to play on a different strategy, a couple oddballs here and there. But, some season high finishes for a lot of these guys, and I'm heartbroken for Dan Schmoon. Showed a lot of great raw pace and raw speed, and unfortunately, 15th place finish. I don't think he got the job done, and that pretty much going to end his round 1 hopes.
With that being said, we'll take a step aside. When we come back, we'll look through the results and your post-race coverage. You're watching iRacing social media platforms and Maconi Entertainment for coverage of eNASCAR qualifying iRacing series action, the first round of Road to Pro, seeing a fuel mileage race from Darlington.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi's Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to Darlington, the place they call too tough to tame. Tonight, it took fuel mileage, but Logan Clampett and many more were able to tame the masterminds of strategy to be able to see good finishes. Let's take a look at the official in-sim results now, as tonight, 23 drivers finished on the lead lap in this one. The drivers who stayed out finished 17th on forward. Logan Clampett, Brian Mercurio, 1 and 2 tonight. They finished a 7/10 difference between them. Agno Phillip, he said in the sim, he thought both of those were going to run out. Instead, he finishes third, 2.5 seconds back. Michael Frisch and Jake Matheson, the top 5. Matheson within a 10th of running out for a second straight week. Christopher Hill and Matthew Morton behind him, with Batby, Mace, and Mazganov, your top 10.
Yeah, it was do or don't for a lot of these guys, and unfortunately these guys are going to end up in the don't pile. Connor Strong overcomes a lot of adversity in a wreck earlier in this race, finishes 11th, Justin Smith 12th, Brandon Hawkins 13th, Cade McClenny in 14th. Dan Schmoon was the first one to pit, or at least the highest running driver, first one to try the half-and-half strategy. Doesn't work out, he's going to finish 15th, Quentin Warman 16th, Blaze Crawford 17th, Christopher Pfeffer 18th, Kevin Champagne 19th, and Daniel Smallwood running out the top 20.
We keep it on with the full results from this race. And 21st is Johnny Avila with Philip Groner and Larry Pace, 3 drivers, Canada, Carolinian, and Canadian, followed by 3 more Carolinians. How about that? Jake Nichols, Alex Murray, and Max Brady. Nichols on down were at least 1 lap down in this one. Joseph Galata, as well as Casey Tucker, round out the drivers that were 1 lap down. Andrew Navarro 2 laps down, and from that point on, you really get into the weeds of the drivers who had big issues in this race. Kevin King, unfortunate for Kevin, and of course Andrew 2 laps down. Both of them having huge potential in this race, and if we find out the remaining results, you can see Niehoff, Bitts, Farinas did pick up 2 spots by just running the remaining laps that he could of this race. Blake McCandless and Dominic Lukomsky rounds out your 35 truck field.
That's what we talked upon, Matt. Your running order tonight, again, with it being in sim, all results are official. We do have your top 3 all standing by. Logan Clampett comes away with the victory. First of all, no longer the bridesmaid when it comes to this series. Second, how does it feel to get your first win and your attempt back to Coke?
Yeah, it feels really good, man. I definitely feel like almost the best I've ever been personally. So maybe stepping back and kind of refreshing and whatever has been, really good to me in the college series, and now I'm doing pretty solid in this. Last 3 races we were in contention to win. I led every single race at every single lap at Texas, and lost in the last one. Then Dover, Brian was pretty quick, but still in contention for the win, and kind of got screwed because of the fuel strategies. But now I knew it was going to be another fuel race, and I didn't want to lose again like that. So pretty cool to kind of have the most laps led in the series so far, and to finally be able to get one this season.
Yeah, it's been an interesting campaign. You mentioned some of the blueprint. 299 the total now for the laps led, by the way. But tonight, you also, on top of having the strategy down, had a rocket ship of a truck. What was the prep like for you and the Conti folks?
Yeah, the truck was really fast, man. Especially that first one. We started 6th. I messed up my qualifying run a little bit, a little tight through 3 and 4 as well. But the race truck was really, really fast. We got to the front really quickly, and I was saving fuel there that first run to get to lap 60, and I was gonna make it, and I was still like just as fast as those guys. So that really means that the truck was really fast. It handled really good. So yeah, thank you to Dustin and Kevin King puts in a lot of work. Justin Smith, Jack Mace has been really climbing up, and I think he's going to make round 2. And a lot of other guys put in a lot of hard work and laps for this truck. I personally don't have a ton of time on my hands, so I probably turn about like 4 or 5 runs for the race, and I'm pretty much set. And I'm just trying to go out there and win these races for them.
Now, you're currently projected to be in the top 70 no matter what. Now, this definitely so. Now, to get that projection, what's the approach now going to be for you at Charlotte?
Charlotte, we're just gonna go out there and try and win the race like we've been doing the last 3 races. And round 1 is just all about making top 70, and round 2 is where you kind of have to be careful and kind of carry those consistent finishes and stuff. We had I think 2 23rd place finishes at Daytona and Atlanta. The 2 super speedways. So hopefully we can kind of carry this momentum into round 2. I know Watkins Glen is on there, and I love Chicagoland. Rest of the races, I'm not really sure what else is on there, but hopefully we can do just as good, and hopefully the races will be clean, because we know we're fast enough. We know we can make it to the Contender Series, but hopefully luck will go our way.
Well, Logan, congratulations once again on the W tonight. You get it done with 81 laps led. Finally, you get into victory lane in this series.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, guys.
Logan Clampitt gets the job done here tonight. Second place.
And then,
Braden Lester is now going to catch up with someone I believe has talked with Agno Phillip. He's now going to talk instead with Braden. It's Brian Mercurio.
Sorry to kid up there, Brian, but that 0 laps not run to a second place finish, second best finish low of the season. Your third top 5. What more did you need to beat Clampitt, and do you think they were good on fuel the whole way through there?
What more did I need to beat Clampitt? For him to have the same luck with the faster cars or any of the slow guys that we ended up catching too, because I kept losing a lot of time. I got real close to him, and then I'd lose like 2/10, and then I'd catch right back up, and then I lost half a second, and then I'd catch up a little bit. It was wishy-washy back and forth, and I thought with how hard he was pushing with Mr. Shamoon up front at the start of the run, I was like, all right, I don't think Clamp's going to be able to make it. Like, he's just going to have less, or he's going to have to save harder. But he was telling me after the race here that me getting held up a little bit allowed him to save enough, and I think it just it all equaled out in the end. So, don't think there was much I could have done, but yeah, happy with second.
And looking at the fuel strategy, it was different all across the board. What made you pick overall the better strategy? We in the booth thought that putting it halfway there in the second half was the winning strat. Obviously, it didn't work out at all. What made you pick your strategy?
So I know Clampett told me he was like, he was pretty surprised that like me or Frisch or anybody did not go to the halfway strat. We decided to try to make it a 2-stop. But I don't know. It just it felt like it makes sense. It made sense a little bit. A little unsure about how the fall off was going to be, and if it was more, then you can save more fuel. So it would have helped those guys that stayed out. But yeah, I don't know. I can't quite get on the right side of the strategy. At Dover, I felt like I had it perfect for the guys that did have to stop, and then Matheson and a bunch of other guys ended up benefiting from no pit. So. Yeah, I just, really wish I could, Atlanta, I won Atlanta. That's cool. It's a plate track, but I really wish I could have done something cool at Darlington. Second's great. Can't complain about that, but, I don't know. I don't know what more I could have done there. Logan was just running a really good race there himself.
Well, Dad, you mentioned you'll win Atlanta. You wanted to win Darlington, but it came in tonight as the points leader, at least after the drop. I'm pretty sure you were before the drop as well. But going into Charlotte and then round 2, what are your expectations for
that? So I will not be attending Charlotte. I will be in real Charlotte. So I will be not participating in the race. But I believe based off the points I've earned thus far, I'll be more than comfortable. And then hopefully my invitation into the eNASCAR qualifying Road to Pro qualifying series, Pro qualifying Road to Pro series is accepted. So if that's the case, I'll be seeing everybody here in round 2, but at least for myself in these round 1 races, that'll be it for me.
Well, Austin, you've definitely put on a great show in the first 7 races. I'm sure we're going to talk to you plenty in round 2.
Yeah, just want to give a quick thanks to everybody who makes this possible. All the boys over at North Force, Jarrett, Blaze, Frisch, everybody who contributes every week to give us some real sporty trucks. We've been doing pretty good, and pretty much every one of the races of round 1 so far. I know a bunch of the lower splits. Some of our guys have been winning there too. So pretty cool to have a lot of success all the way around, and a good group of guys. Big thanks to Elite Performance Industries, RaceEPI.com, Fast iRacing Setup Shop, 1-8 Coffee, and I guess you guys for broadcasting this stuff on the official iRacing channel. It's pretty cool.
Yep, it's always our pleasure to be able to talk to you guys, and you guys always put on a great show for us, so we are greatly appreciative of that.
All right, appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Yep, thank you as well.
It's good. That's Dr. Bob coming away second tonight. In third spot this evening, Agno Phillip. He's with Dylan Coyle.
Agnell. Well, usually I'm used to talking to you after finishing first in real sim racing, but how about this? Third in eNASCAR Road to Pro at Darlington. Well done, my friend. What was the idea behind staying out for as long as you did instead of pitting at the halfway point?
Are you talking about
The
the
second
halfway
half
point
of
of
the
the
race.
second of the second half?
So the 3/4 point.
I mean, you know when I saw the lap, the caution came out, and I was like, oh dear, this is going to be like a fuel map. This is going to be really close to make it if we save. I didn't have a great sense of. It looked like we were getting a lot better fuel mileage in the race than what we were getting in testing. So I kind of just didn't fully. I thought it was going to be a much harder lift to make the end of the race, but I knew like it was going to be like Dover last 2 weeks ago. You know, like if you can make it to the end, you're going to net out so much better than if you pit. Like there's just not enough time when it's right on the edge of a fuel run for them to come all the way back around. So yeah, you just play the strategy card that's dealt to you, and that's what we did, and you know got some good help from my guys on the box, Chris and Brian with the A51 Pro. So we were able to make it work there. I was not saving as efficiently as Logan was clearly, but you know did the best we could there.
Now, obviously, going into Charlotte in a couple of weeks' time, this will definitely help you when it comes to making it in the top 70. But it's not like you're completely safe yet. What about Charlotte do you feel like you're going to play to your strengths and maybe even weaknesses that you'll have to work on in the next 2 weeks?
I mean, definitely the length of the race should play towards my strength. You know, we'll get some long green runs there. I'm not the best maybe on long run like Logan is. Obviously, he's got the pedigree and he's incredibly fast. Brian's incredibly fast. Michael Frisch, pretty much everybody who is all in the top 5 the entire race. They're all good long runs, so I'm not going to be alone in that certainly. But you know, the length of the race should help. And Charlotte's a decent track. I think the good thing with the race this week is it helped. I think we figured some stuff out that will hopefully translate to some of these other tracks. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to go and kind of have feels like a return to what we had a few years ago where the races were about half length of real life, you know, and those are a lot more fun. All right, it's probably more than half length of real life, but like those are a lot more fun, the long ones where you kind of can let the field spread out a bit.
Did you feel like, after Richmond, you only were in the top split once in the first 4 races of this round 1 of Road to Pro, and in that top split, you got an 18th, and second split 33rd, 7th, 29th. I mean, did you think that you'd still have a shot to make it with 1 race to go into that second round?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I felt pretty good about the tracks that were coming up. The thing I didn't feel great about was the margin for error. You know, like I know especially if I'd stayed in second split, I think I would have had the pace both of these weeks to finish up front. But if something goes wrong, you know, like we had a couple side by side kind of sketchy moments tonight. One of those goes the wrong way, and I, you know, go nose first into the wall, then it's over, right? Like there was no margin for error left. So definitely happy to kind of put that aspect of it behind us a bit. We have a pretty good. I assume we'll have a pretty good margin for error going into Charlotte. But yeah, I mean that was my concern after Richmond. Richmond was also really frustrating for a bunch of reasons, but yeah, I'm glad we made it. Kind of clawed our way back in, and it should be set up well for round 2. Those are all good tracks for me in round 2, and I feel like past couple of years we've been peaking pretty well there and always had a shot at the top 20. So it seems like we're following a similar pattern this year.
All right, Agnell, always a pleasure to talk with you. And hey, hopefully we'll see you in round 2 in Charlotte in just a couple weeks. And please don't kick my butt too much the next time we're racing in RSR together.
There's a rumor that more people are going to be joining the league soon, so I wonder if that's going to change the dynamic at the top. But yes, always
not
good
at the
talking.
bottom.
Always good. Well, who knows? Probably at both ends. But always good talking with you, Dylan. And if any of the folks watching want to see how we made it, follow me on Twitch, Agnell_Philip. So. I had to get the plug in there, Dylan. You know how it is.
I know how it is, man.
Communications professional that you are.
Yeah, 100%. You and I, we share that trade. Congratulations again, Agnell.
See ya.
See ya. Oh, Justin, always a pleasure to talk with Agnell Phillip, and great racing that we saw here at Darlington. It really felt like a first and second half kind of race.
Yes, indeed. And as we get ready to come to a close, let's go and bring you into the broadcast booth here once again to talk about tonight once more. First things first, Braden, your thoughts on the evening as it ends up being a thriller, fuel strategy or not. Absolutely exciting from the get-go.
Yeah, Logan Clamp definitely tamed that fuel mileage game for sure and able to bring home a victory and seal the deal to make it to round 2 for the most part. A lot of these guys needed a really good week. Some had an excellent week. On the other hand, you got guys like Dan Shamoon that needed something to really go their way, and the cards just didn't fall right. So, hate to see it for a lot of those guys, but I think Charlotte's going to be a thriller next time out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, then after that point now, you have Charlotte. So, Dylan, let's talk about that. That's going to be one of the mile and a halves that is not one of those that I would necessarily put in the pack group. It's one tire where it can also very much kick in. It's not like, say, a Chicagoland or Las Vegas. It can spread out a bit.
It can certainly spread out a bit, and Charlotte Motor Speedway is a little bit narrower than other mile and a half tracks that can change the dynamic of the racing. And a lot of drivers are going to be a little bit more desperate than we've seen throughout the first bit of round 1. It's the last chance that a lot of them on the line are going to have to make it into the second round with 2 splits. That's all we're going to have next time after Charlotte, that we're racing in Road to Pro with a chance to make it into the big series. So besides the track being different, the dynamic of the racers are going to be different. There's going to be a bit more desperation. I have a feeling we'll have a little bit more than one caution at Charlotte than we had here tonight.
It should be an interesting time when that happens next time out. Once again, that will be a May 23rd date at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to find out which drivers unofficially get themselves into the top 70. Once again, that covers on iRacing social media platforms and as well on Maconi Entertainment. Real quickly, for those curious on second split, FTN currently has that final restart coming up as they've had 2 cautions in green, white checker territory. Be sure to tune in for that to see who pulls off that win. But after a night of intense competition, it's time to say goodbye here on iRacing Maconi Entertainment. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside Braden Laster, Dylan Coyle in the booth. Bradley Cooper was our producer. Thanks as well to those watching along tonight, and stay tuned to our social media pages for our next broadcast. Thanks once again for everyone for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time for RTP from Charlotte.